Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. I'm playing as Chaos. My ally is the Bretonnians. We are facing off against the Empire and the Vampire Counts. To go over my army here, we have 3 normal Marauders, 3 Marauders with great weapons, a Fire Sorcerer, an Exalted Hero, that's neither of them are mounted, of course Kholek Sun Eater, a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, Dragon Ogres, because I feel like when I bring Kholek, to be thematic, you should have some kind of Dragon Ogres in there, so I put these 2 in here. We have 2 groups of puppies. These puppies are basically my anti-artillery crew for Chaos, at least in this particular setup. We have a group of Chaos Trolls that are armored, and that is my army. For the Bretonnians here, we have 5 men-at-arms, 2 spears that are sitting in front of 2 Knights of the Realm, 3 peasant bows, a damsel, 2 paladins on a Pegasus, and then the King Lewin Leoncoeur. For our enemy players here, we have 3 skeletal spearmen, 3 zombies, a blood knight, a Vargulf, Strigoi Ghoul King, the Sternsmen, which are a very solid unit, very solid, and then 5 Graveguard with great weapons. I can only imagine they brought these to duel with Chaos Warriors and potential Chosen, because in the multiplayer scene, when you're fighting against Chaos, I'd have to say 90% at least of the time, they're going to not bring any Marauders. It's very common not to see Marauders because they suck in most cases. So I imagine that's why they brought all of these. Now, damage-wise, just a quick little thing here. Damage-wise, they do about the same to Marauders as a normal Graveguard would do. But for that about the same amount of damage, you're investing 200 more gold into each of these units. And they do not have the shield. And their defense is about 12 lower than a Graveguard with shields. Or, yeah, with shields. So, to bring this army here to combat against Chaos Warriors makes sense. But against Marauders, this is a overinvestment of funds. I hope that kind of makes sense. If that is, in fact, the reason why they brought these Graveguard in the first place was to deal with Chaos Warriors, then haha, I tricked them by bringing Marauders, because who the hell brings Marauders? Anyway, little minor victory, potentially, if that was the reason they brought those higher costing Graveguard. Again, I hope that made sense. We have 4 Spearmen over here for the Empire player. We have 6 swords spread out, 4 crossbows, 3 Hellstorm rocket batteries, 3 of them, holy crap, and then a general of the Empire. So against the Bretonnia, these Hellstorm rocket batteries can really devastate a Bretonnian infantry army easily. Like, their damage is perfect for the armor type of the, well, basically just lower armor units. And against Chaos Warriors, they can still deal some damage, just not as much. But the thing is, for me, unfortunately, I brought an infantry corps of Marauders, which are going to instantly melt against 3 Hellstorm rocket batteries. So, now normally, with our army composition, we have no artillery whatsoever. But I'm like, in my head right now, what I am thinking is, oh shit, there are 3 Hellstorm rocket batteries. I have a very squishy army here. I'm just going to pull back and hope that my ally does too, and they do. They do actually pull back. I think they noticed what was happening. They're like, oh, no, this is bad. And so I'm going to send the puppies out here on a distraction detail, and it works. So we're just going to run away from the rockets, and we're just going to have them fire at the puppies for a little while. Actually, for a long while. For a very long while. These Hellstorm rocket batteries are going to be continually pushed forward to try and get a range of our Marauders, and I'm going to continually withdraw our Marauders as, but I guess this one just starts to fire at the puppies. But these 2, though, they're trying to catch our Marauders, and we're just pulling our armies back. Not something I normally do. If they have artillery, that usually means you charge them, but I don't really want to. What I'm trying to do here is hopefully draw these Hellstorm rocket batteries far away enough from their units that they would be out of position. Unfortunately, the enemy players keeps their army in tow with these Hellstorm rocket batteries. I wanted them to be extended like to here while the infantry was back here, and that would have done a quick run with the puppies and murdered them. The problem here is that with 4 different crossbowmen, I could rush the dogs in there, and I thought about it. I did. But I don't think, with the concentrated fire of 4 crossbows, we could deal enough damage quick enough before they murdered the puppies, and then we've just wasted our entire unit. Here, we do actually get shot a little bit because we got close to the Hellstorm rocket batteries. And you can see the General of the Empire. I guess this player is fed up with my puppies running in front of their army. So they're going to start chasing him. That's fair. That's fair. You can run off my puppies. I'm not going to sit there and get charged by a General. And there you go. We're still trying to dodge rockets on the way out. The rockets are firing where the AI is predicting my path would go if I continued in a straight line. So you got to try and keep mixing it up so you don't run into the rockets. The problem with rockets, though, is that they're so widespread anyway that their inaccuracy will sometimes get you when you're trying to dodge them, as it happened a couple times. So right here, I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is this general actually going to try to engage my puppies this close to my army? So I start bringing up Kholek. I start bringing up my Dragon Ogre and the Shaggoth. I'm like, is this really going to happen? And I'm like, yeah, it is. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to continue to lure him closer to Kholek. And for a while there, it's looking like he was going to do it. But then he goes on a path to my Sorcerer. And I'm like, oh, man. And then he powers himself up. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. No, let's do it. I'm going to get in here. And I imagine he wants to fly high. But he does this little dash move. He tries to get another hit in on my Sorcerer. So we're going to get a hit on with Kholek. And this is buying time, more importantly, for the King and his 2 Paladins to fly from over here to over here. And you can see 1 hit from Kholek, maybe 2. And this general is taking a lot of damage because I buffed Kholek up. He has the Star Crusher upgrade, which is like 260 or some crazy amount. But he has a high amount of base damage and armor piercing damage that it really warrants the Star Crusher. Some heroes don't have a high enough weapon damage to really warrant the items that they're given, or the optional items that they're given. Like the Arch Lector, I don't really think is worth it. He has a self damage buffing item as well, but he's I don't know. More testing needs to be done. But anyway, the important part here is that this general of the Empire got hit by Kholek. His morale is already kind of faltering, and now he's being chased by the King and the 2 Paladins. Meanwhile, my army is continuing to withdraw away from the Hellstorm rockets that are firing at them currently. They got a couple hits on my Chaos Marauders. I still have the puppies out here to be a distraction, and then the King is going to buff up, as is his Paladins, and he's going to catch the General. And the General's like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. But man, those Pegasus Knights are pretty fast. They're pretty fast. And you can see he is almost dead. He is almost dead. And he is routing. The Sword of Corona's on him. Those Pegasus Knights are faster than he is. Yep. So because this player overcommitted their general, they actually lose him here. I believe. Maybe they eventually get him. As they start flying over the vampire army. My puppies are now moving back into position to just be a harassment to the Empire player. I believe he dies. Maybe not. Maybe he just shatters and routes off the field. I'm pretty sure he dies. So yeah, that player really wanted my puppies, and then did the mistake of charging my Chaos Sorcerer, of which, the thing is, okay, a lot of different, or most casters in the game, especially when considering the Empire and Bretonnia, their armor is really low. I think the Greenskin's armor is pretty low too for the Orc Shaman. But for Chaos, the unmounted Chaos Sorcerer has 100 armor. Now, the General of the Empire mounted on a Griffin does have armor piercing, but still a lot of the base damage that they can deal is going to be negated, well, not totally negated, but mostly negated by 100 armor of the Chaos Sorcerer. So getting a little hit and run against a normal dude may be kind of worth it, because you can deal like 25% health in one charge on a normal caster with very low armor, but paid a very hefty price for that one charge against my Chaos Sorcerer, and I think he is just maybe chased off the field. I know he doesn't come back, basically, is what I'm saying. Then over here, the Hailstorm Rockets are still trying to fire into my army. I'm like, that's cool. I'm still going to just withdraw, because we have the mobility of the Air Force here. I'm pulling out my Sorcerer so that I can cast a Flaming Skull into their lines and hopefully deal a lot of damage that way. And just continually moving my army around. Basically just trying to harass the enemy player, force them to waste a lot of their shots, and trying to force them into a mistake like what they did with their general by overcommitting him to kill my puppies. My puppies weren't even doing anything. They just wanted to be petted by the Imperial soldiers. They were just running around like, adopt me, adopt me. And then the general was like, oh, you cursed puppies. And he paid the price for it. You don't curse the puppies. It's just not right. Don't do that. I didn't notice this. The king gets a quick charge on a crossbow, like a half charge. All right, and it's right here. It's right here after the general gets run off the field. This player leaves the game. No, doesn't say anything. Just leaves the game. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, I guess that's not the way I would want to win. And we haven't won yet, by the way. Like, this is not. Let me just tell you right now, this is not a one-sided battle, really, per se. But I'm assuming pissed them off to the point where they just raged quit. They lost their general, but it was their fault. They overcommitted and they got chased off the field by the king and his 2 flying paladins, all for a charge against meaningless puppies. Like, okay, the beginning, I know I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry, but the beginning part of that strategy is sound. If you're being harassed by chaos puppies, one, don't shoot at them. Like, that's what they're there for. Just focus your artillery fire on the units you actually want to destroy. Don't let them just auto fire. Don't do that. Don't do what they did. Don't ever fire at any kind of mobile unit, especially when it's looking like they want you to fire at it. Secondly, the king charging off into the chaos puppies was a solid tactic. You get them away from the battle lines. Like, the enemy player, like me being the enemy player here, has 2 choices. You stay there and get charged and murdered, or you run. That's fine. The overcommitment is where they kind of messed up, but the beginning part of that strategy is very sound. It's a very valid tactic to use your flying hero to charge off some puppies. So now the AI is in control of the Empire player, and they're facing or firing into the Bretonnian line, which is the better situation because they're closer and in range of the Hailstorm rocket batteries. So the AI here, I think, may actually perform better, maybe, than the player would have. Because remember, the AI is giving orders to everything at all times. And a big part of this game is micromanaging. And the AI is the best micromanaging. They may not be the best with tactics, but neither is every single player. That's for real. Players make mistakes, including me, all the time. So now we're going to kind of withdraw the puppies, and now that the enemy army is starting to charge, what I'm doing here is getting both of our puppies around the right flank, and I'm going to be getting them around all the way around the right flank to try and shut down these Hailstorm rocket batteries before they can do too much damage to my Marauders and to the Bretonnian lines. And of course, you can see the Vampire player is marching up with the Empire player. A smart choice, because the AI is marching, so you might as well support it as best you can. But after all that Hailstorm rocket battery fired, you haven't really taken too much damage. But you can see, like, one rocket takes a big chunk out of these Marauders because they're very weak. They're very, very weak. And their shields don't block rockets as much as I would like them to. Oh, man, my armor troll getting a shot in the face. But yeah, I rarely have any players leave, especially so early in the battle. Like, it's not even decided yet. Yeah, you lost your general, but it's not the end of the game. But anyway, so my puppies are going around the right flank. Over here I have the Dragon Ogre contingent, including Kholek is going to be going in to try and shut down these crossbows. So right there, and then they're also going to be getting into the crossbows over there. Right there we have a Flame Sorcerer, my Fire Sorcerer, casting a Flaming Skull into the Swordsman, as they do kind of a staggered charge towards the Bretonnian lines. These men-at-arms, unfortunately, do not have much of a chance against the focus fire of the crossbows of the Empire, so they are just falling really quickly. Meanwhile, over here, swordsmen are engaging, or these maybe spearmen are engaging against some of our Marauders. Let's actually give you a wide view here of what's going on. So the Vampire player and the Empire player are both going to be marching against the Bretonnians. I'm going to be trying to go around the flanks here with my units. I'm going to be pulling up these Marauders kind of... I really need to enable the paint tools, but I'm going to be putting them up over here. My armor trolls, I'm going to have them assigned to swordsmen, and then I'm going to assign them later on to grave guards. And I'm going to try and keep my great weapon Marauders against grave guards that get too close, because a lot of their damage potential is wasted on these kind of lowly armored units, but they're more geared for the grave guard. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And you can see my puppies are starting to shut down these Hailstorms, including a paladin over there. I just charged these spears because they were not braced, so I just charged them trying to break them, and we're going to do that with these Dragon Ogres. Meanwhile, Kholek is shutting down these crossbows over there. And the Bretonnian lines are now engaging against the Empire. Against Empire infantry, the Bretonnians can do pretty good. The problem is they're getting hounded by Hailstorm rockets and crossbow fire. And then we have the Vampires marching behind him too. So it's obvious that they are trying to crush my Bretonnian ally here. Meanwhile, my Chaos Sorcerer, who's still a decent melee combatant, and with 100 armor, you can throw him into melee against these types of units, and he's going to be fine. Totally fine. So he is dealing with some of these swordsmen, along with some Chaos Marauders. There goes another Flaming Skull, trying to snatch these Grave Guard. We catch a little bit of them, but not as much as I would like. We do some damage to the zombies, but that doesn't really matter. What is this? I'm not sure what's being dropped here. Oh, Curse of the Midnight Wind from the Bretonnian Damsel. But you can already see the Bretonnian Man in arm line is actually kind of getting crushed, and now the peasant bowmen behind are threatened. The 2 Knights of the Realm are now back here. I'm not entirely sure what they do. I guess maybe they clear out these crossbows. Maybe. We have dealt with the spearmen and those crossbows over here, so we're going to be throwing our dragon ogres into this battle over here against the Graveguard, because all of this is armor piercing, and these are anti-infantry units specifically and anti-armor, whereas none of these units are really high armor, so our dragon ogres can do really good against the Graveguards. And here comes those Knights of the Realm. They're going to be charging into some zombies. I'm probably going to do a cinematic view after this, because I've been doing a lot of talking and moving everywhere. Puppies are going to be chasing off the Routing Empire units. Over here, I'm casting the Fire Cascading Cloak to keep our units into the battle, or in the battle as long as possible by buffing up their defense. You can see the Graveguard with great weapons getting into this fight, and they are going to be really bad for our Marauders. Really bad. Some of my Marauders are going to be going around and getting flanks on them. My Exalted Heroes coming in to support this battle. My Chaos Warrior, or my Chaos Sorcerer, has been battled for a long time against the Swordsman, but you can see he has not taken much damage. Again, he has very high armor. So against unarmored piercing damage like the Swordsman, your Chaos Sorcerers can do really well. Meanwhile, over here, the King and all of our Dragon Ogres are just having a field day. Absolute field day with these Graveguard. I also threw in these Great Weapon Marauders. All of this is armor piercing that I have over here. And this is the, like, exact opposite of the battle that these Graveguard want. So we are just crushing this group of Graveguard over here. Over here on the flanks, the 2 spearmen that were helping protect the Knights of the Realm are in a prolonged engagement against spearmen, and then this Graveguard with great weapons, I guess they're actually running, but it was a very long combat that was over there. The 2 Knights of the Realm are now dying, I think? Yeah, because they charged in, but they couldn't charge back out, so all these skeletal spearmen just kind of pounced on them. We also have a group of Crypt Ghouls that were summoned by the Strigoi Ghoul King, who is also over here somewhere. I think with the Blood Knights. We're now surrounding these Paladins and the King. Another Curse of the Midnight Wind being dropped. And it looks like the King is trying to get out of here because of the Strigoi Ghoul King attacking him. Paladins are going to be holding these Blood Knights at bay. Which I'm very happy and thankful for, because the Blood Knights can deal a lot of damage. A lot of damage to Dragon Ogres and Kholek, because again, they're very lowly armored, or low armored, and the Blood Knights, just to remind you, they are anti-large, but they're not armor piercing. So against other cav, they can still do a lot of damage just because of their bonus for anti-large, but they're really, like, their strongest opponent they're gonna, or their most desirable opponent, I should say, are going to be units like this that are big units with low armor. That's going to be what they do the most against. But they are still totally fine at facing off almost any other cav in the game. But again, this is like their kind of prime target. And like unarmored trolls, they would just murder instantly. Not of which I don't have those. I have armored chaos trolls, but still. So yeah, we're just wrapping up these Graveguard. This puppy over here, Fluffy, is going to be diving into our chaos trolls over here. Along with what Marauders we have left. You can see my Marauders are taking a lot of damage, but now that they are focused... I'm sorry, I know I keep pausing, but a lot is happening. Now that they are focused on my Marauders and Trolls, the Peasant Bows have a time to actually start firing again, so they're going to do a lot of damage to these Graveguard. Because they're just going to be focusing down as our Chaos Marauders try and hold them. My Chaos Trolls here, they are armor piercing, so they're kind of a waste. No, not a total waste, but this is not their ideal target, so I'm going to be pulling them out soon, and I'm going to be assigning them to fight these Graveguard, which they're going to do better against. Or have more of an impact against the Graveguard than they will against Swordsmen. Like, they can kill Swordsmen just fine. Also, I kind of want to get away from this puppy, because the puppy does a lot. Wow, that troll just, like, uppercutted the puppy. Jeez. And after a prolonged engagement in melee, and I think he also took some puppy hits, the Chaos Sorcerer is actually going to rout here. The Dragon Ogre crew is starting to get torn apart by the Skeletal Spearmen, which I did not notice they had charged us. So these Ogres here take a lot of damage. Blood Knights are almost dead. Strigoi Ghoul King is still okay. And I'm going to be pulling everything out of here to try and finish this puppy, because he's kind of isolated right now. So we're going to be charging the puppy with Kholek and the Dragon Ogres. Where are they? There they are. So these ogres, or these trolls over here, are going to be going over to assist a Bretonnian player in trying to stop these Sternsmen. The Sternsmen are a very hardy unit. They have regeneration, so I want to shut them down with our Chaos Trolls. And you can see how much health they have right now. They are still in pretty good condition, but against these armored trolls, they are going to collapse. Their regeneration alone is not going to keep them alive against armored Chaos Trolls for long. So people have been asking, or some people have been asking me, you know, your thought process in a battle. And the biggest thing is assigning or trying to get your unit to fight its most ideal target, if at all possible. So you see, I pulled our armored trolls out of the fight against the swordsmen because they can wreck swordsmen, and they will. But their ideal target, like their highest, not even a threat, but their most desirable target is going to be something like the Graveguard, or the Stearnsman in this case, because the Stearnsman is a very strong unit. Most of my infantry would fall to it. Most of the Bretonnian infantry would fall to it. The thing that can instantly, well, not instantly, but can destroy it, I'm talking so fast, are going to be something like the Chaos Trolls, because they are high armor piercers. They are large creatures, so they deny these Stearnsmen their bonus to infantry, so that's damage wasted against these Chaos Trolls. And they have a high disruption attack, meaning they can, when they do the little AoE attacks, they knock a lot of people down, and that means they're not attacking back. So, and they also have very high armor, and the Stearnsmen are not armor piercers. So again, as the battle is raging, you just want to assign units to what you think they can destroy the best, what is the most of high threat that you need to isolate. And so I saw these Stearnsmen coming in, they're threatening the bowmen. I knew the armored trolls can do really well, and you can see that they really are. They've taken a little damage. Their morale is dropping just because they're by themselves, and they have very low morale to begin with. But you can see they are wrecking these Stearnsmen, which otherwise, if these were in a fight against any of our infantry, these Stearnsmen would win over and over and over again, because they are constantly regenerating. They have very high defense and melee attack, and they would wreck infantry. So we're going to shut them down with the Chaos Trolls. Right here, I'm doing whatever I can to try and stop the rest of the Graveguard from getting into the Peasant Bows, so I'm throwing my Marauders over there. These Stearnsmen are now all but dead. This clump of infantry that was here is all but dead. And now here comes the Strigoi Ghoul King along with the remaining Blood Knights. But we still have a lot of armor-piercing damage here, which is going to do really well against the Blood Knights. And the Strigoi Ghoul King is not much of a match for Kholek's Sun Eater. Just putting that out there. Not a match at all, really. So with all of our Dragon Ogres, we are going to wrap up the remaining Blood Knights here. My Chaos Exalted Hero is holding off these Spearmen from getting into our Ogres. So I saw them charging in, and I was like, well, you know what? Let's throw our Exalted Hero in there. Skeletal Spearmen are not going to do much against an Exalted Hero, and that keeps them away from the units that they could kill. So again, it's all about your ideal units, shutting down your ideal units. I hope that makes sense. The thing is, it's all in real time. Like, you can't pause the game at any point, so your brain is constantly thinking. That's part of the reason why I don't do live commentary, is because my live commentary would be about 10 minutes of... and then you would just hear mouse clicks behind, because I am in total focus mode, because at all times, you have to be thinking, okay, is this unit okay here? Is this unit going to be better somewhere else? If yes, then get that unit over there to where it's going to be more of an impact to the overall battle. Anyway, that was this battle. You can see it was still kind of close. Their Bretonnian player, the king was almost dead, I think, at the end. He may have regenerated some of the health that he lost. The Paladins, for the most part, was still okay. They still had the Peasant Bows. But, like, my Marauders, for the most part, were routing. My Chaos Sorcerer was routing. I still didn't have my Trolls. My Dragon Ogres were almost dead because of these Spearmen. And then the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth was actually still okay, as was Kholek for the most part. But still, like, just because that player dropped didn't mean it was an instant GG. We almost lost that. It was a pretty close game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll, or I'll do a cinematic view because there was a lot of talking and pausing. So we'll just watch the battle. But first, let's take a look at the units. Alright, Kholek Sun Eater, 169 kills against mostly Graveguard, which is amazing. Chaos Sorcerer of Fire, 48 kills, not bad. Some of that was in melee, some of that... actually, I don't know if any of that was from the Fire Skull. That did lower some hit points of some units, but I don't know if it killed anybody, so that may be all in melee. 114 with our Exalted Hero. He was thrown up against Graveguard. No, he was thrown up against Swordsmen, Spearmen, and then Skeletal Spearmen, so that's still really good. Again, those are his ideal combatants. He doesn't really want to fight Graveguard because he relies on his armor to keep him alive, and Graveguard are armor piercing, or at least the great weapons were. So it's all about throwing units into where you think they can kill the most and survive the most. Anyway, the Marauders against the Swordsmen did really well, and the Spearmen. It's about one of the only units they can do really well against, especially supported by the heroes nearby. The Chaos Marauders Great Weapons did really great. Honestly, I'm shocked they even did that great. I'm shocked. Totally shocked. But the Vampire Count player didn't really have many units that would break the morale of the Chaos Marauders, which is usually what happens. They just start running before they die. But in this case, there wasn't really any terror or fear to worry about where I was fighting, so they were able to stay in the battle longer. And so their high focus on melee attack actually won the day against all those swordsmen and spearmen. The Warhounds, amazingly well. They shut down the Hellstorm rocket batteries, and then they were just preying upon retreating units. And I threw them in active units here and there, but like these puppies are so good at killing rowdy units. It doesn't matter if they're a spearman, whatever they are. Just throw the puppies after them because they're not going to be fighting back. And so that means you don't have to worry about them coming back to the battlefield, because units that rout most of the time will come back. Chaos Puppies can run them down and keep them broken or just murder them all. So that's what I had them assigned to do. And you can see how many units they killed and prevented from coming back into the battle. Chaos Trolls did amazing well because they have regeneration, and I just threw them into situations where they were going to succeed, and they did. 197 kills against Swordsmen and Graveguard. Dragon Ogres, 156 kills. Shaggoth, 93 kills. So in this battle, I was able to really assign units to where they would do really well. I was kind of lucky in that case because I wasn't hard engaged necessarily. I was allowed to move my units around. The Bretonnian player was hard engaged against the Vampire Count and the Empire players, so they didn't really have much of a choice in where choosing to put their units like I did. Let's see, what else do we got here? For my ally Granduca, we have 132 kills on King. Amazing. Paladins did really good. It looks like they actually, one died and almost died there. The Spear Wall did pretty good since they were fighting against Graveguard and Spears off on the flank. The Man-at-Arms, unfortunately, they kind of got shut down by the Hellstorm rockets before we killed them, and then the focus fire of the crossbows did a lot of damage. And of course, Graveguard didn't help the situation out at all, so they kind of got shut down and murdered pretty quickly. Peasant Bows managed to do some damage. Unfortunately, they were forced to run through a lot of that battle because they were just being chased, but still did a lot of damage. And the Knights of the Realm did really good. It's a cheap cav. They did really well. For the Vampire Count players, Strigoi Ghoul King, 19 kills. Not that much. Not that much. He's a pretty powerful melee combatant. But yeah, that's not really that many kills. I think he was fighting against Knights of the Realm through most of that, I think. Zombies did what zombies do. 27 kills is beyond amazing. Skeletal Spearmen did really well. The Graveguard with great weapons, some of them did pretty good. I'm assuming these two were the ones that we shut down initially with our Dragon Ogres, and then, I mean, still got so much damage with them. Sternsman, 77 kills before we killed them with the Trolls, and the King jumped in. 59 kills, and the Blood Knight is not that great. This thing is 1,700 gold, so that's kind of a waste. Not a complete waste, but still, that's not what you would like to see. And then the Puppy, only 40 kills on the Puppy. That's also not great for the Puppy. But we shut them down with Kholek Sun Eater and his crew really quickly because I knew that this puppy would thrash all my infantry over there, so I had to shut them down real quick. For the Empire player, Trotsky, who left after their general died, the AI did pretty good. Swordsman got an impressive amount of kills against my Marauders. Spearmen, I think, did really good against me and my Bretonnian ally. The Crossbows, actually, they kind of got shut down before getting too many kills. Huh. They did focus fire at least one or two of the Man-at-Arms down, but maybe they just died to the infantry then. I guess that means we did a really good job of shutting them down before they could do too much, because that's a lot of damage sitting right there. And then the Hailstorm still got an okay amount of kills here and there, but luckily we were able to shut them down too. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let's watch a cinematic view of the battle, where I will not do nearly as much talking. Shake it if you got it, you know what I'm saying? Kholek knows what I'm saying.
Weapons out, lads! Time for fighting! Battle!
Jeez. Stop it, Kholek. God. Just a bully.
Ready for her damsels! Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it! Beware! Foul eldritch deeds! Foes of the Emperor! Let us show our hammer!
That's my flaming skull. I may have hurt the king a little bit with that one. And some of these knights. Listen, don't worry about that. Don't worry. Oh god, your head. Oh, you're a zombie. That's okay. That Ghoul King is pretty big.
Is that all you got? That is true magic. Keep your heads down, men. They're casting spells. Spread. As long as we draw breath, they will die.
Oh, someone charged in. Oh, hi there, puppy. Just this line of death right here with these trolls.
Using dark forces against the enemy. Fight, lads! It's the only way! Tell Marauders they may remember us in the after. Kill that witch! I bet these souls! I think that's a good cause! Let's have them! Murder is in the air! I can smell it!
Watch out, Fluffy! Oh, jeez.
We are blast fighting!
Kholek's pissed. Get out of there, Fluffy! Look, Fluffy is pretty good, okay? But not even Fluffy can hold all this off on their own. poor Stearnsman. And then Paladins come in. King comes in. It's a whole lot of death. Fluffy's dead. Kholek is just... Wait, where'd the Struggle Ghoul King go? Did he, like, get punted underneath the terrain? Oh, wait, no, there he is. That's gonna be the end. These Graveguard got pretty far, though. They rerouted my fire sorcerer. But those peasant bows, too much. Again, hope you enjoyed, everybody. I'll see you all next time. Take care.